Rev it up and welcome to Cars Yeah, show number 1780. We are nearing the end of Women's Month here on Cars Yeah, but don't fret. There'll be plenty more women on the show as we go into April and the rest of this year. But this month, we've been celebrating Women's Month with 23 inspiring automotive enthusiasts throughout the month. If you missed any of them, you'll find them all on the Cars Yeah website. These are all women who are definitely shifting the conversation.
This is Cars Yeah, where you'll enjoy interviews with inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Mark Green is here to provide you with a fuel injection of automotive inspiration. So get in, sit down, buckle up, and get ready for a wild ride here on Cars Yeah.
Hello, inspiring automotive enthusiasts, and welcome to Cars Yeah. Today I'm in Denver. No, not that Denver, North Carolina, with a very special guest by the name of Kendra Sommer. Kendra, welcome to Cars Yeah. Are you ready to put it in gear and release the clutch?
Definitely, Mark. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. We'll have some fun today. Now, before I give you a proper introduction, what's one little thing that maybe most people don't know about you, Kendra?
Well, let me answer it this way. Most people know that I was a news reporter and I quit my job to go to the SEMA show, but the thing that they don't know is when I came back from SEMA, I actually started my company, and for the first 6 months, I was running my company, CWK Media, and brand Cruisin With Kendra out of my parents' basement. So it's kind of neat because fast forward 4 years later, we have some really great partners, staff, and a great office that's not in the basement in a really nice building. And it's cool to see how much this automotive industry, the heart, and if you have heart in it, it's kind of neat to see it go full circle.
Oh, absolutely. Plus a whole lot of work add that into it to make it successful. But, a lot of very famous people in the world started in basements or garages. You think of Hewlett-Packard, Steve Jobs with Apple. So many people started that way. Even Walt Disney started in a little garage doing cartoons, as they say, inventing that little mouse named Mickey. So everyone starts somewhere. I'm really proud of where you become. So let me give you a proper introduction, have you share more about your story. Kendra Sommer owns and operates, as she said, CWK Media and her brand, Cruisin With Kendra. She's worked on production programs, including Entertainment Tonight and on CBS The Insider. She and her team travel around the globe with industry manufacturers, publications, automotive, and marine companies. They produce a 12-episode 4x4 build-off series, create content for weekly Hot Rod Network series, Fierce Ford Friday. They've worked with Mustang Monthly, Carcraft, Hot Rod Magazine, and Hot Rod Network. Kendra's flagship program will start airing on the XTRA Network, channel 255 on direct television very soon. That's cool. We'll be back in just a minute to share more with Kendra. But first, a word from our valued sponsors. They make this show possible, so give them a little love. We'll be right back. Are you ready to get out and hit the road? Boy, I sure am. This country has so much to offer all of us. And what a better way than to get out and drive? Covercraft protects the things that move you. From protective covers for the outside of your vehicle to dash covers, seat covers, and sunscreens that keep your car cool for those roadside stops for a meal or to take in a view. All of these items are custom tailored for your special vehicles and manufactured with the quality and attention to detail that's been the standard for Covercraft since 1965. Road trips can be hard on your vehicle's surface, so protect them. And when you get home, cleanup is fast and easy. And do you want a deal? Well, I've got one just for you. Use the code YEAH21 at covercraft.com and you'll get 10% off your Covercraft order. That's right, 10% off. Compliments of Cars Yeah. Simply use the code YEAH, YEAH21 at checkout. I've been protecting my vehicle with Covercraft covers since 1975. Covercraft, protecting the things that move you. Go to covercraft.com today. American Collectors Insurance. That's who now protects my Porsche Turbo. Yeah, the one I call my Orange Crush. When it came time to renew my policy, my carrier jacked my rates up, even though I'd been with them for years. I'd never made a claim. No tickets, nothing. What's with that? Adios. So I started shopping around and kept hearing about American Collectors Insurance from fellow automotive enthusiasts, friends, and folks in the car industry. I did some investigating and learned that American Collectors Insurance have been protecting collector vehicles since 1976. I'm not a price shopper when it comes to insurance. I want to be able to sleep at night. I also want agreed value protection for my special ride. With an agreed valued policy from American Collectors Insurance, I'll be paid what my vehicle's full agreed value is, a number I set with the insurer at the start of the policy so I know there will be no surprises about what my car's value is, should something terrible happen. I shopped around and decided to protect my car with American Collectors Insurance. Give them a call for a quote today at 866-ACI-YEAH. That's 866-224-9324, and protect the ones you love. Make sure you tell them Mark sent you. You'll be glad you did. American Collectors Insurance. Classic car insurance designed by collectors for collectors. All right, Kendra, we are back. So let's dive a little deeper into the corner here and have you share more about your business, how you started this whole thing, why you quit your job and went to SEMA, and what it has evolved into. It's a nice way to get the tires smoking a little bit here on Cars Yeah, so take the wheel.
Thanks, Mark. Well, I'm definitely a workaholic, and I quit. Actually, believe it or not, I took my last paycheck from the news station and I flew to SEMA knowing that the automotive industry had so much to give and so much to offer, and I felt that I could really offer a lot to it. And the main reason I started this, aside from wanting to be so involved in automotive, was going back. My dad and I grew up in the garage together. My grandfather worked for International Harvester for over 40 years, and it's just a really big part of my family, my life growing up. And I just wanted to get back to my motorsports, my automotive roots. And from there, my brand, Cruisin With Kendra, was started. And I went to the SEMA show and was able to see firsthand just how amazing, the aftermarket is and the automotive space. And then from there, Cruisin With Kendra kind of went its own way. And then I started CWK Media, which now does everything from automotive, motorsports, marine, food and beverage. We produce all different types of content, campaigns nationally, internationally. We do everything from cruising down the Miami coast in a catamaran with Mercury Racing.
Wow.
And, that's one day. And then the next day, you could be getting ready to go on a thrill ride with one of the many awesome automotive partners. So every day is really different, and every day it just kind of keeps you on your toes, which I love.
SEMA is such a wonderful venue for that. Last year would have been my 31st SEMA attendance in a row. Of course, we missed that last year because of that stinking pandemic that we're trying to claw our way out of here. But SEMA is such a great inspiration. There's so much there, and there's so much to do, so many cool people to meet. Let me ask you this, because you mentioned family members. I like to ask my guests about a driving inspiration, a key mentor in their life. Maybe you ran into one at that SEMA show, or maybe it's a family member, but who was this influential person that steered you down this new pathway?
Well, I would say my dad, because growing up with an overzealous gearhead for a father, there's definitely going to be some influence there. And he always encouraged me to go after this automotive ambition. And then now my staff really motivates me. I might have a difficult day, but they're constantly pushing me to go further, and stay really positive. So it's a mix between my dad, my family, my staff, and then also a lot of the amazing people that make up our industry. They want to see the next generation getting involved, so they're very supportive as well.
That's a nice segue to this next question that has to do with how you might advise another woman, young woman or older woman, somebody who wants to leave an industry they're in and get into the automotive industry, just like you did. What are a couple pieces of wisdom or advice you might offer somebody that's willing to take that very bold step out of their comfort zone and into something new?
Yeah, I would say it's never too late to blaze your own trail. And sometimes when you want to get a big reward, you have to take a big risk. And it's scary to quit your job and to go into something that, isn't a sure thing quite yet. But once you do that and you grow so much as a person, so I would recommend that everybody takes that leap at least once in their life. Put yourself in a situation where it might be beyond your comfort zone for your career. Just knowing that the parachute's going to open, you just have to jump.
Yeah, the parachute's going to open. I sure hope so. But you're right. You do have to kind of take that leap of faith. Well, let's get back to this brand that you've built, because you went from being basically an on-air personality, right? Mm-hmm. And you decided, you know what? I've got this great career going, but I love cars. How can I translate this into this new business, this new look at me, Cruisin with Kendra and CWK Media? So talk a little bit deeper with us about what this company that you created does, because to me, you've taken more than what you did before and just say, well, now I'm just going to be in front of a camera in the car industry. You've built it into something broader. You scaled it, in essence, the way I'm viewing your business. So share more with, if I am working in the automotive industry, maybe I'm a service provider, maybe I'm an events, maybe I'm a racer, maybe I'm, I don't know, a product creator. How can CWK Media help me?
Right. So, and you're right, our company is in so many different industries and different facets, but we did start in the automotive industry, and that is our foundation, that's our ground floor. But what we found was so many of the skills that we learned servicing the automotive industry can translate into different industries. So we create quality content, quality programming with our different partners. That's everything from producing new product launch campaigns where we're on the ground working with the client at a specific location, or we're at their plant shooting, filming. It's everything from post-production services to pre-production and everything in between. We are a full-fledged production company, but we also, we really stand behind our work, and we do pretty much everything that you have to offer with production.
I like to ask my guests about when they realized what they're doing is what they really wanted to be doing. What was it about attending SEMA and leaving that crazy week of walking 1,000 million miles?
Oh my God.
Oh, I've worn out a lot of shoes and socks at that show over the many years. I always wonder, how many miles have I walked at the SEMA show over the course of 30 plus years? When did you realize, and I'm assuming that's when it happened, when you left that week of events and went, I have an idea. Was there something there that triggered you, something you saw that inspired this, or did you go into that already kind of figuring it out?
It was probably somewhere in between applying blister pads to my feet. I completely can relate with walking a ton at that show, but it really opened my eyes to how much there was in this industry and how much this industry had to offer. Because I was really, before that, the only exposure I had to the industry was through my dad, in the international scout world, which is a great community. But being at SEMA and seeing how broad their reach was in our industry, it really inspired me that I could have a place in this industry. And then meeting so many of the amazing women who were involved with our industry, it was just really exciting, because there are so many great women who are, in marketing roles or just different roles that you meet at SEMA. It's phenomenal.
Did it surprise you coming from the industry you're in into the automotive world, which typically over time has been thought of somewhat of a quote unquote man's world? I see it because I've been doing this podcast now for 7 years, and I've seen it transition. I've interviewed over 300 women, and it just keeps growing. And when I decided to redo Women's Month again, I've done it before on Cars Yeah, this time I had no problem. In fact, I had too many people responding to it. So I'll carry over some people, and I'll always interview women. I love having women on the show into the following months, April, May, June, the rest of the year, and for as long as I've been doing this. But did it surprise you how many women were involved?
It did, actually, and it kind of sealed the deal for me that this was going to be the path I wanted to go down, because, we always hear how this is a male field and all of that, but actually being on the ground, meeting these women who have incredible stories, and they're so supportive of other women coming up, and they want to get more women in the industry. They want to get more diversity in our field, so that was really neat. Before that, I had really only seen the women who are on TV, and, because you don't get to see the marketing directors, and you don't get to see, the president of companies, right, different things like that. So that was really eye-opening and really empowering. Oh,
absolutely. I think it's growing quite dramatically, or at least the awareness is, because of shows like what I'm doing here and because of what you do, and more people getting involved, and more women speaking out and trying new things and getting into a field that, again, is typically thought of as just male dominated. I think it's wonderful. And you think about consumers, I think over the half of the buying decisions made in this country, maybe the world, but let's talk U.S., are made by women in the family.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's so true. And I think what's happening is it always has been in every one industry. Everybody can be a part of this. There's a place for everyone in our industry. It's a great place to be, and it's great that more people are seeing that.
It's fantastic. The broad range of women I've had just this month range from a 19-year-old who just got out of high school and is going into the tech world to the lady I started the whole month off with, Lisa Boggs, who's the head of Bridgestone Firestone Racing. So there you go, with putting their tires on ED cars and all sorts of things. When you think about the many facets of your business, what's the favorite part of it for you?
See, that's really hard to select just one because we do so many different things. But I think constantly challenging myself, constantly growing as a company and evolving as a person as we go through these different steps. And it's just really satisfying being able to realize that you can be successful blazing your own trail, and you can be successful growing your dream and really realizing that everything is possible. And it's great to see my staff growing and getting to experience this as well, because, I mean, these are experiences that we are creating through our company, and it's neat to be able to share that with my staff.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it takes a team, that's for sure, just like in racing. So brilliant. You've learned a great lesson there very early on in your business's career. Surround yourself with magnificent people. And if you can, find people that are way smarter than you and let them do, and then get out of their way. Let them do their job, for goodness sake. It took me a long time to learn that lesson way, way, way back when I had a team around me. Let's take a short break and thank our sponsors. As we come back, I'm going to ask you what I ask all my guests, and that is a bit of a challenge question. So keep your seatbelts on. We'll be right back. I've discovered Linkage. It's a new quarterly publication and website that covers the automotive market, driving, restoring, collecting, and discovering your passion for motor vehicles. Linkage is about experiences, opinions, and values. Linkage is an actual informed, reasoned opinion based on first-hand experiences. A talented Linkage team covers the automotive world, the people who share your passion and mine, smart, considered, rational, and experienced opinions, ones you can learn from and grow. That includes our passion that drives auctions and the collector car market. So come with me and join us on this journey. Join Linkage. Linkage, geared for the automotive life. Subscribe today at linkagemag.com. And don't forget, when you're at linkagemag.com, use the code CARSYEah and you'll get $10 off your subscription. Check it out today at linkagemag.com. Crash jewelry is handmade from the metal of luxury cars while preserving the original factory paint. Founder Christy Shimke came up with the idea when she moved her jewelry studio into her husband's Los Angeles auto body shop. After watching beautiful Porsche ultraviolet fenders and Ferrari Rosso Corsa hoods head to the scrapyard, she developed her own unique upcycling process of cutting, bending, and sanding the metal into unique, wearable pieces of beautiful automotive art. For Women's History Month here on Cars Yeah!, Crash Jewelry is giving away a special Ferrari Art Deco cuff. The cuff includes an empowering message engraved inside. Enter to win today by subscribing at crashjewelry.com. Plus, Christy is offering Cars Yeah! listeners 10% off in March when you use the code CARSYEah at checkout. That's crashjewelry.com and use the code CARSYEah today. And don't forget to follow Christy on Instagram at Crash Jewelry. So Kendra, let's talk about a huge obstacle, maybe even a big failure, a massive challenge you faced in your career, maybe in your life. And I'm more interested in how you overcame that situation. And even more than that, what did you learn from it so that it became a positive in some way so that you can move forward? So take us on maybe a challenging journey. Let's put it that way.
Well, I would say waiting for the stars to align with our different partners and projects and things like that. A good example would be this television opportunity that we have for our Cruisin With Kendra brand. I've been working on that for 3 years and constantly having to remind myself, okay, you've got to be patient. And then we had a pandemic, which completely sent all my, it made everything 10 times worse with waiting and being patient. But I think the biggest key that I've found to be able to overcome my obstacles is having a good group to be able to talk things out with, to discuss, and to remember that, you know, good things are worth waiting for, and just to kind of stick it out and try to be patient, even though it's challenging for me at times.
Oh, gosh, yes. I know. I self-produced 13 episodes of a Cars Yeah! television show in 2019. We were all set to bring it back in 2020. and that thing called pandemic hit. Couldn't travel, couldn't do anything. And then the TV industry made a big shift, as you know, because you're going into it with streaming and so forth. So now almost kind of back to square one of trying to figure out how do we bring this entity back. Talk more about what we can expect to see on this show.
So Cruisin With Kendra is everything from driving around America, finding cool rides, finding some cool adventures, everything from, believe it or not, in Door County, they have a restaurant called Goats on the Roof. And
Okay.
we get to go, this is a restaurant with goats on the roof. They have a grass roof.
Okay.
And they put the goats up there every morning and they just eat the grass. I mean, just neat little Americana things, that you see on a road trip, and we're bringing that to the television.
Goats on the roof. I don't know if I want goats eating my roof above me, but I guess that keeps the grass from getting too tall.
Yeah, it's definitely unique, but it's actually really funny. They have a trademark on that, so I don't know if you'll want to put grass on your roof anytime soon, because
No.
the restaurant actually trademarked that.
Where I live, I try to keep the moss off my roof because it creates a problem. So the last thing I want is grass growing on my roof. I don't think it would work.
Yeah.
But, so will this show be primarily Americana, or will it be automotive focused, or is it a combination of all the above?
It's a mixture. We have a lot of great automotive segments that we've shot over the past couple years, and then we also have a lot of great Americana segments that we've shot over, the past couple years as well. So we're just kind of combining it and putting together the program that I initially wanted to do when I quit my job as a news reporter. So it's kind of neat to see it come full circle here and actually be airing on a television network 4 years later, a lot of sleepless nights later, and a lot of hard work later.
Gosh, no kidding. So remind our listeners, where and when can we start enjoying this show?
It's going to be the week of March 16th and DirecTV, XTRA Network, Channel 255.
Awesome. Very, very cool. Well, congratulations for pulling that off. I know how hard it is, and it is difficult. That's for sure. So, Kendra, you touched on something really important that many people have to deal with in business and life, and that's patience. And if you're not a person who's patient, I think you're pretty much a go-getter, get-it-done kind of person. What are a couple ideas you could share with people who aren't patient, that get impatient, and what impatience brings us to sometimes is missed opportunities or just blowing something off because it's never going to happen, I'm not going to try. What are some techniques that you use to remain patient so that things can still come to fruition?
And Mark, that's a great question. There's a couple of things. One, I have some really great business mentors that I work with, and some of them skew very positive, and their advice is very positive and uplifting, and once you get off the phone with them, you feel like you can conquer the world and everything's going to be okay. So when I get really frustrated and kind of beat down, things are taking longer or something changed, all of that stuff that can happen on a day-to-day basis, I call them and I tell them what's going on. They give me great advice, and then I'm back to being able to drive the ship and drive the company again. So I think staying really positive and having people that support you and, give good business advice, that's a win-win, and having strong mentors that really build you up, that has helped me immensely with this company.
Oh gosh, yes. There's a great saying that we are the culmination of the top 5 people we spend most of our time with, and it is true. It's what Mom used to say, pick your friends wisely. Don't hang out with the bad kids, hang out with the good kids, and better yet, hang out with the kids that are smarter than you, because they'll push you up, pull you up, or drive you to be better than you are. What are some of the many ways that you like to give back to others in the automotive sector?
Well, I was involved with SBN and then also AACF, both great programs within the aftermarket, but I regularly have people reach out and ask me business advice, or how did you get started, or how do I find my passion in what I want to do with my career. And I'm always happy to take those calls and to meet with people, and that's my way of giving back, because when I first started, I was kind of figuring things out on my own, trying to make something happen, and I think it's really great to be able to provide direction for somebody and help them get started.
Absolutely. Just like you're spending some of your valuable time with me today, helping other people learn about how you're doing what you're doing. So I appreciate that very much. When you think about your journey so far in life, and you've got a long way to go, you're still a young woman. What's the biggest high point? You're welcome. What's the biggest high point so far? Perhaps something that you're most proud of to date?
That's a tough one, because We've done a lot of things. We've traveled and been able to participate in a lot of great opportunities, which I'm very grateful for. But I always look at the best is yet to come, and we haven't gotten there yet. And I'm always excited for what's next. I'm proud of what we've done as a company and as a team and as the brand that we're building, but I'm always excited for what's next, what's coming up.
You know, you remind me of Dr. Ferdinand Porsche when he was asked, what's your favorite Porsche? And he said, the next one. So
yes.
Always like a race car driver, always looking down the road and not where you are at that moment. So that's how you achieve things. Let's take one more break. And we come back, I'm going to offer you what I call the ultimate ride or drive. So we'll be right back. Here at Cars Yeah, it's all about inspiration. And our charity of choice is TechForce Foundation, where it's all about making a positive difference in young people's lives. TechForce helps young adults discover their talents and passions for all things automotive, with a mission of helping students develop a career as a professional technician. TechForce awards nearly $2 million in scholarships every year for students to pursue technical education, and they support hands-on activities, events, and mentorships across the country, working to change the outdated perceptions of these careers. Auto techs are in high demand, but the supply of qualified technicians is critically short. They need your help to fuel their mission. Learn more and join me in supporting them at techforce.org. Hey, fellow inspiring automotive enthusiasts, did you know if you subscribe at carsyeah.com, I'll send you my free Filler Up book? It's an ebook filled with fuel, filler fun, and inspirational quotes from past guests here on Cars Yeah. Plus, you'll get a weekly wrap-up email from me every Friday, and your name will be in the hat for one of the many free giveaways here at Cars Yeah. Simply go to carsyeah.com and click on the free book button, and boom, you're in the club. And don't forget to subscribe to Cars Yeah on your mobile podcast app, and you'll get the Cars Yeah show delivered right to your mobile device every day, absolutely free. Inspiring automotive enthusiasts, that's what we're all about here at Cars Yeah. Thanks for listening. All right, I have a magic wand here, Kendra, at Cars Yeah, and I get to do some pretty cool things. And this day, I'm going to provide you with a unique opportunity. You get to choose a very special person to go on a drive with. Could be somebody living or deceased, somebody from the past. You get to pick the kind of vehicle that you're in, and you get to decide who's going to be driving. And finally, what are you going to talk about? So who, what, when, where, how?
Can I have two?
Oh, you can have anything because my wand is very magical here. So whatever you'd like.
Well, I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Okay, the first one that I'd want to do would be go for a ride with Alice Ramsey. And she was the first woman to drive across the United States in a Maxwell.
Yeah.
And I am just such an advocate for people who blaze their own trail and trailblazers. So I really like how much she was a pioneer for women and what she accomplished. And the second one would be my grandfather, because he is such a big part of my life with the direction that I've picked as far as the automotive industry. And I would want to drive with him in some sort of international vehicle, maybe a 1979 Traveler or something like that. And it would be really neat to just talk to him. I'm actually named after him, and unfortunately I never got the opportunity to meet him. So it would just be really neat to just have some dialogue with him and talk to him.
That would be pretty cool. So with Alice, would you be in that old Maxwell?
Depending if it's raining. I don't know how I would handle in weather.
Well, I live up here in the Pacific Northwest where it rains a lot. And when I moved here 27 years ago from California, I was told, whatever you do, just do it. Don't let the rain stop you, or you will never do anything here in the Pacific Northwest. So now we're just used to, you go out in the rain. We've had picnics in the rain. I wash my car in the driveway when it's raining. My neighbors think I'm crazy, but I do it. So, yeah. Well, that'd be pretty cool. Alex Ramsey and your grandfather in an old Traveler. I like it. Great options. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, is there a book that you've read that you'd like to share with us you think has taught you a lot, really valuable?
So I'm actually a workaholic, and unfortunately I don't get it. I look at reading a book as, something I would do in my free time. Unfortunately, I don't get a lot of free time.
I gotcha.
I'm lucky if I'm able to read the SEMA magazine and catch up on the latest news. So that's kind of how I spend my free time, if I have any, for the day.
Sure. So Well, I might offer you a little bit of advice or an opportunity here, and that is audiobooks. Maybe since you travel a lot, when you're on a plane or in a car, in a train or whatever, is listening to an audiobook. They're wonderful. And a little secret that I've shared with a lot of listeners and guests here that many people don't realize, your local libraries will give you free audiobooks to listen to, and they'll send it to you electronically. You don't even have to go into the library. My wife gets 2 or 3 audiobooks a week and has done this for years. And if they don't have the book you want, you suggest it and they'll go and buy it. And then they'll send it to you for free. All you need is a library card. Kind of cool.
Well, that's great with COVID.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I always thought she had those earbuds in so she didn't have to listen to me all day long. Apparently she's reading books or listening to books. She's an avid book reader. So there's a little tip for everybody out there. You can find all these links on Kendra Sommer's, and I'm going to spell her name, I should say. I pronounce it Sommer, but it's Sommer. Apparently it goes back to some French roots, perhaps, eh? Or I should say we. Yep. If I said A, we'd be in Canada. So we, there you go. Kendra, you've taken us on an awesome ride. Amazing what you've done. And I really appreciate you sharing your successes with our listeners here today. I want to thank you for sharing your journey. Now, before you drive off on that road trip with Alice and your grandfather, is there one more little parting piece of wisdom or guidance you might offer our listeners today?
I would just say jump and the parachute will open.
There you go. Trust. There's the key word today with Kendra. What are the many ways people can follow you and learn more about what you're doing?
If you want to keep up to date with us, follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Cruisin With Kendra, and head on over to our website, www.cwkmedia.net. Mark, thank you so much for having me on the program.
Absolutely. This has been great. Again, you'll find everything on Kendra's show notes page. Kendra, thanks again for being so generous today with your time and expertise and for spending some of your valuable time with us today, teaching and inspiring us. Until you and I talk again, if I can keep up, I'll see you down the road.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's ride here at Cars Yeah. Drive on over to carsyeah.com to find show notes and inspiring automotive fun. Download your free copy of Filler Up, a fun book filled with gorgeous photographs of fuel filler fun, including quotes from more inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Download your copy today, and we'll see you next time on Cars Yeah.